Hi to all. We will start our webinar after a few minutes. If you can hear me fine, please add plus in chat. Okay, great. I'll turn off my microphone for a minute and then we start. Okay, I'm not sure that we are able to wait one session of questions and answers about beta test of iRidium version 3.0 with iRidium server and a client for iOS, Windows, Mac and Android. Today we have to discuss the questions listed on your desktop. It's working with the new functions supported by iRidium 3.0. These functions was not supported in the previous version of iRidium, so it's new capabilities of iRidium server and iRidium client. The first two questions, it's a speech API and be open. It is only for iRidium client, it is not server functionality, and I'll describe you how it works and what does it mean. Let's start from Speech API. Speech API allows you to make voice comments for your automation system. Voice comments will be generated by Google services, Google API, so you have to work with internet connection to use the Speech API. How it looks, you can see now on the desktop. Miloslav, do you see something on the screen? Do you see the editor? Let me check. And now? Do you see the editor now? Okay, great. Now you can see on your screen the simple project which makes you able to test the basic functionality of Speech API. Here you can see the start button and stop button. You can start the record and stop the record of your voice with Google service and Yandex services. Yandex is only for Russian users and for the moment it doesn't work. But you can work with Google and type the text at Russian language and English. You have to choose Google service and English language to record your voice in English. It works only with internet connection. You cannot start it without internet, and you have to get your own Google API key. It's a unique key. You have to get like a developer of Google. And how to get this key you can read in our article displayed here, Speech API, on our i3Pro forum. Please open this article and read the instruction how to get your own Speech API key. With this key, you will be able to connect to Google services and work with Voice API. You cannot use this functionality without your own key, so it's really important. And how it works, I can demonstrate to you right now. You will get a ready sample on our forum, then get your own key and start it on Windows or iOS. Okay, let's speak with it. Hello world. Now it's connecting to Google and I see the possible words the Google heard from my microphone. That's how it works. Then you can process the words. For example, turn on light or change temperature. You can process these words with JavaScript and make some comments with your automation system. Okay, it's the main information about Speech API. If you want to ask something about it, please do. If you don't have questions for the moment, we can continue with POpen. Demian, it is not always listening. It is listening only when you start the recording. But I hope it will be possible to start it only when the microphone hears some words. You have to press on microphone for the moment. In the sample, you have to press the record button and it listening for 3 seconds. You can change this time. Or you can work like a walkie-talkie. When you hold the button, it is recording. When you release the button, the recording stops. POpen is a very interesting functionality. You can read about it on our forum also. Here it is. POpen, it's a functionality which allows you to work with CMD. It's a command line of your Windows PC. It allows you to use ping command, telnet protocol. It allows you to work with USB adapters. So you can, for example, connect to USB some Z-Wave stick. You can connect some infrared adapter or something like that and work with it directly via the USB transport. So POpen, it's like a command line on your PC. You can open some file location, you can start some application, you can ping some IP address or start the telnet communication. With this, the sample of using or working with POpen you can see on i3Pro forum. It's called POpen. But please be careful with using of this transport. It takes some resources of your PC and you have to close the process, POpen process, if you started it. And when you finished to work with it, you have to close it. If you didn't close the process of POpen transport, it works in parallel with the other POpen processes. So you start the new and use a command string. It is not good for your PC and for memory. The sample of working with it you can download on forum. Okay, the first question from Demian. Related through, I have been testing Node.js model for Apple HomeKit. To call REST to iRidium server, to do similar things, HomeKit support. I'm not sure that we start with HomeKit support in the closest time, but please send the request on our forum and you will get the full information about our plans with HomeKit. I'm sure that it will be realized, but I cannot tell you something about time. POpen is real for iRidium server on Windows, or will it also support Linux commands? Now iRidium is only for Windows for the moment. You can start iRidium server on Windows and iRidium client on Windows, and you can use POpen on iRidium server and iRidium client. But we didn't posted the Linux version of iRidium server yet, so for the moment you cannot use POpen on Linux, but it will be possible because we plan to make a server version for Linux. About time, I cannot be sure. Just don't know when it will be done, but we are working on it already. on Raspberry. It will be available on any platform supported by iRidium, but when we beta test this, it is only for Windows. Okay. The next question, improvements of SAP. I just want to let you know that we improved the sound quality in SAP driver, and please start to test it on Windows and iOS. You can download the latest client from our forum and use it with, for example, 3CX or Mobotics SAP servers. I did notice that I did not be able to install iRidium server on virtual machine. Reports no hardware key found. Yes, it is possible. It doesn't support the virtual machines for a moment, so it is possible that it will have problems. The main problem with virtual machines that when you start it time by time, it has a unique key each time. You cannot get the stable key for virtual machine anyway. It's about HWID for iRidium 2.2. It's about 3.0 also. So please use the normal Windows PC if you want to start it with some license. Without license, it is not problem, but you will never use iRidium server or client without this license. So please don't use a virtual machine. The next our question is show and hide of Apple status bar. It's a very convenient feature that you can set up in the iOS client properties. Please install the new version of iOS client on your iPhone or iPad. Open the settings. It's a universal settings of programs on your phone. And then find an iRidium i2 Control, i3 Pro in the list of applications in the settings tab. And in the settings of application, you can start the status bar displaying. You can turn it on and off. It will be displayed on the top side of your application. You don't need to change the resolution of your project to display the status bar. It will be displayed at the same time as your GUI. And you can also show and hide the status bar in the system properties of application. So you can hold some place of the iRidium GUI on your phone or iPad for 10. You have to hold it for about 10 seconds, and then you will see the window to add the password 2007. Then open the displaying tab and choose if you want to show the Apple status bar. It will not be supported on Android for the moment. As you know, Android has their own status bar, but it is only for iOS for the moment. For SAP, do you connect free switch? Free switch. I didn't heard about this SAP server, but you can try. If it works with an external SAP clients, any app from App Store, Google Play, so you can try it with iRidium, and I'm sure it will work. Okay, it will be great if you update this information for us. We start our test with Mobotics and 3CX only. Okay, great, it will be great. When BackF ADS driver will be available? ADS driver will be available for BackF PLCs in the first part of the next year. As you know, for the moment you can control BackF only via Modbus TCP protocol, and it is not really convenient because you cannot export any variables from your BackF project. I hope the EDS will be available in May, and it will support their own importing system from BackF variables to ADS driver in iRidium. Modbus protocol is not very bad if you want to control your BackF PLC from up to 5 control panels. It will work good. But the main point why you want to use ADS driver, it is not you don't need to ask for the variables each second like Modbus do. So we are working on it right now, and we plan to release it, ADS driver, in the second version or in the second release of 3.x version. For example, in 3.1 we will provide the functionality you can see right now. We will finish the beta test and then release 3.0, and then we will release second version with a new functionality like an ADS driver. And I have also got one question about pages you want to lock in iRidium 3.0. I'm not sure that I understand this question correctly. We have got it on our Q&A form. I think you mean you want to lock the page for some users or for some communication mode with your equipment. What I want to say, you can lock the page only when you control the properties of this page, like, let me show. I found a sample about hiding and disabling of some items of your project. For example, you have an item you want to lock for controlling. So you have to control the properties of this item. This property is called enable and visible. Enable property makes you able to lock the item for control. You will see this item, but it will be displayed in colors of gray, and you will not be able to push on it. You can also hide the item with script or with a relation tab. For example, how I did this functionality when I hide one button from another. So you have to find the tab Send to Project Token, and you have to send the number 0 or 1 to project token, enable or visible of some other item on the page. For example, I want to hide an item number 5. So you have to find the property visible or enable of this item, and then send the number 0 to disable or hide this item. With this command, I make the button item 2 invisible, and I disable the button item 5. It is easy when you want to hide some button with some another button, and you can also hide it with JavaScript but you cannot hide or disable the page. So you have to disable the functionality of navigation in your project. You have to disable the button which opens some page, so you can hide or disable page this way. Ta-ta-ta. We have some questions. Let me a second. Okay, Dmitry answers for your questions for a moment. You can post something in chat. But we finished with the main questions shared by you for today. If you want to discuss something, please let me know. Yes, you can. About all the changes in the current build, you can read on our forum in the section What's New. It's a general forum about i3 Pro. In the server, you can use the event error for custom TCP driver. You can see the timeouts. It's waiting for data. When you don't have a connection, if it is a license problem, if you don't have a license at all, if you have some other errors, for the moment, all these events you can find in JavaScript. It's very convenient for the custom drivers. Okay, the questions about scripting. Do you have some demos on how to create a script which is built with a number of classes, and 2 or 3 files, and allows the file to reference the class and properties in other files? It's about XML parsing. I think Dmitry will answer to you. Dmitry Shulgin. Okay, great. I'm not sure that Dmitry will be able to answer you right now, so it will be much more convenient to work with it via the forum, or you can send it by email. Okay, I think you have to see it. No problem. We will wait for your email. Mhm. Yes, you can create 208 feedbacks in your driver. You can do more of them, or you can make some virtual variables without physical outputs. How you want to display these feedbacks? You want to drag it on the separated items, or you want to display it in list or something like that? If you want to display it in list, it is simple because you can create a dynamic list via the script and then send the data from each feedback in the cycle. You can add the data in the list dynamically, but if you want to display the data on the separated items, you cannot be sure how these items situated on the pages, but you can create, for example, some items with the special names and then send the data to the graphic items by names. For example, feedback 1 will be displayed on item feedback 1 on the first page of your GUI. You have to know the destination of your feedback. It is easy to do it in list, but if you have a separated graphical items, you cannot parse all your GUI. It will not work good. Damian, please send your questions on support email, support@iridiummobile.ru. Our forum is only for open topics, so you can just send an email. If you describe your driver with more details, we can provide some methods of data displaying in your project, some convenient method. Or, for example, you can then, I have some ideas about displaying of data. For example, you can create an items on the page, dynamically create the items, and set them on some static positions of GUI. But it is very complicated to advise something because I don't know how it should look. Okay, great. So we will wait for your email. If you have some questions about scripting, new functions of JavaScript in 3.0, please let us know. I'm not sure that will be good to discuss it on webinar. I understand you. But in this case, you cannot dynamically create the feedbacks. It have to be created in like virtual variables of server. I'm not sure that it will be that it will take very long time to clone the virtual names. For example, you can do something like this. Create some channel or tag and then just clone it with a new name. You can use any name of this tag. It was a clone button. Just choose a feedback. For example, let my driver 1 and press clone button. It will be created with a new name. I'm not sure that it solve your problem, but it will be easier to do this. Okay, happy to hear it. Anyway, we have to discuss all the possible ways to do a job easier. So please email us. Great. You're welcome. Okay, guys, if you don't have any questions for the moment, so please read our changelog on forum. You will see many interesting things, many interesting changes there, and bug fixing also. On the changelog you can see the links to the ready-made samples for speech API, for popen and other iRidium functions, for iRidium server and iRidium client 3.0. Please take a look about new possibilities of linear trends in iRidium. It's about graphic functionality, graphics. Now you can change the width of the line of trend. You can display several scales on one trend, and you can do the separated settings for each curve on your trend. I will not show you these changes in details, but please take a look at new editor. And thank you for checking out new functionality. It is very important for us. You help us to make iRidium better. I hope it will be ready soon and you will be able to set it up on the real objects. So, I think it's all for today. Waiting for your emails and see you in Skype. You can ask me directly in Skype. Here is my login. Or you can contact our support specialist on our forum. You can also contact us in chat, Slack chat. The contacts of this chat you can see on forum. You have to ask for invitation in chat if you need. Okay.